Venezuela strengthened its deployment to attend the regions of El Castaño and Las Tejerias in Aragua State after heavy rains registered in the last few hours. Moscow rejects accusations of alleged Russian involvement in Nord Stream bombings. Danish police said the pipelines were damaged by powerful explosions. Senior Communist Party of China leaders attended group discussions of various delegations at the 20th CPC National Congress. Hello, welcome to From the South. I'm Luis Alberto Matos from the teleSUR studios in Havana, Cuba. We begin with the news. The Venezuelan government strengthened its deployment to attend the regions of El Castaño and Las Tejerias in Aragua State after the rains registered in the last few hours. President Nicolas Maduro visited El Castaño in the municipality of Jicarot, Aragua State, where heavy rains caused El Castaño River to overflow and trigger a natural disaster similar to the one that occurred in Las Tejerias. During the visit, the president ordered government authorities to mobilize at least 300 troops from Carabobo to attend to the community, but without neglecting the recovery works taking place in Las Tejerias. The Venezuelan head of state also ordered the use of machinery and heavy equipment to attend to the contingency.
I have approved today a special economic fund for Las Tejerias, without protocol, without intermediaries, without paperwork. With this special economic fund, we are going to finance the integral recovery of Las Tejerias, and I ask for support. We are going to provide the resources. International researchers are also coming, and I also ask for the support of the big businessmen of the country, the bank owners, the bankers of the country, to do their part. The big businessmen of the country to do their part, to support and help the people from Las Tejerias.
The president of Venezuela, Nicolas Maduro, provided details about the overflowing of El Castaño River in the city of Maracay that left 3 people dead.
It is capitalism and its development model who destroyed the planet, and we are in that battle. That is why I say to our people, let's prepare ourselves to be able to anticipate, prevent, and to respond promptly to any circumstance that we may face. We leave you for now. They inform me that damage in El Castaño, in Maracay, are severe. They inform me preliminarily that there are 3 people dead. It was a mudslide that came from the mountain. We are going there to continue supporting the people.
The Mexican National Meteorological Service warned that heavy rains continue to affect the Mexican coast and territory of the Pacific Ocean. The weather entity informed that a low-pressure channel along the western Sierra Madre is generating heavy rains on the west Mexican coast and the entrance of humidity coming from the Pacific Ocean. Authorities indicate that they are observing a probability of torrential rains in Oaxaca, heavy rains in Chiapas, as well as punctual rains in Guerrero, all of them accompanied by thunderstorms. The Meteorological Institute also indicated that the hurricane season will continue until next November. UN spokesman Stefan Dujarric referred on Tuesday to the critical flooding situation in Chad, where more than 1 million people have been affected.
Turning to Chad, our humanitarian colleagues tell us that more than 1 million men, women, and children in Chad are now impacted by floods in 18 out of the country's 23 provinces. Heavy rain started in early July and have quickly overwhelmed drainage channels and ponds. The southern part of the country was hit the hardest, but the flooding also struck some eastern provinces, such as in Sila, causing rivers to overflow. In the capital, N'Djamena, several neighborhoods are entirely submerged, with people forced to flee their homes. Some 465,000 hectares of agricultural land have been destroyed, which could further aggravate the already critical food insecurity situation in the country.
In Chile, Carabineros repressed demonstrators in the framework of the acts commemorating the 3rd anniversary of the social unrest. According to the local authorities, the first incidents were registered in the morning hours when Carabineros began using water cannons against demonstrators. During the day, there were cuts and detours at various points of the capital due to blockades in areas such as San Ramon, Conchalí, Renca, La Florida, and Santiago. They also cut off roads in the vicinity of the so-called Daily Square, a space that was the scene of a protest 3 years ago. Other incidents were recorded in the vicinity of several iconic educational centers in the capital, where students were not allowed to enter. As Canada and the U.S. ponder and prepare to intervene in Haiti, other voices call for help and action instead of intervention. Regarding the situation, Geng Shuang, China's deputy permanent representative to the UN, explained that at a time when the Haitian government lacks legitimacy, sending such a rapid action force to Haiti could face resistance or even trigger violent confrontation. However, China poised support for a second draft resolution which would lay down a set of sanctions to be applied to gangs and their leaders. Russia rejected the sanctions proposal, saying it was drawn up hastily. Russian UN envoy Dmitry Polyansky said it would be unacceptable to support external interference in Haiti's political process. Let's take a short break, but first remember you can now follow us on TikTok at the account at teleSUR English, in which you'll be able to see news in different formats, news updates, and much more. Other stories coming up. Stay with us. Welcome back from the South. In France, trade unions and workers continue general strike demanding wage increases from Emmanuel Macron's government. France experiencing a growing inflation that is reaching historic heights. Several workers' groups remain mobilized at different locations in Paris, including a rally at the Graveland power station. Trade unions demand that the authorities implement a fair wage scale that allows French workers to face inflation and overcome the high cost of living. Union spokesman stated that this Tuesday's protest extended to nearly 200 cities, while the Secretary General of the CGT, Philippe Martinez, announced that the general strike will continue until the government meets their demands.
Because we really need everyone to realize that we must seize this incredible opportunity that the refineries have brought to us. It's now or never. We were planning to leave at the end of the year, but it would be really stupid not to jump on this opportunity and altogether bend the employers and the government to obtain real purchasing power on wage. Today, there are several reasons, but the main one is the reevaluation of salaries. The index point has been frozen for more than 10 years at RAP. It was reevaluated this year by 2.2%, but in view of the inflation over this year and over the last 10 years, it is not enough for the employees. So RAP, the company, needs to increase wage significantly.
French high school students blocked schools in Paris in support of the inter-union strike for higher wages and the right to protest. This mobilization in the education sector also rejects the reform of vocational high school of the education programs. These actions demanding solutions to increasing inflation began at the end of September at several refineries. Demonstrations are expected to increase throughout the country, with great impact on public transport, education, and health. In Germany, thousands of people demonstrated in the city of Chemnitz to protest against the energy crisis and calling for the repair of the Nord Stream pipeline. The German government is adopting energy-saving measures to alleviate, in some way, the consequences of the sanctions package imposed by the European bloc against the companies supplying Russian gas to Europe. German citizens are concerned about the rising gas prices ahead of winter and rejected the presence of the U.S. Army on the territory. Specialists warn that the approaching gas bills could lead to the largest economy of the European continent to a recession. On Tuesday, Swedish newspaper Expressen published the first images of damage to the Nord Stream gas pipelines following the sabotage that occurred on September 26. Specialists investigated the area with an underwater drone lowered to the Nord Stream 1 pipelines, which lie 80 meters below the surface of the Black Sea. The camera recorded large groups in the seabed as well as steel debris several centimeters thick that looks like broken parts of the pipeline. Judging by the images obtained, it appears that at least 50 meters of pipeline are missing after the explosion, which triggered a tremor of 2.3 on the Richter scale. On Tuesday, Swedish Prime Minister Ulf Kristersson announced the composition of the new government cabinet and its designated representative for foreign affairs. The official appointed a new foreign minister for Sweden as well as a head of civil defense and finance. This comes after Parliament on Monday approved the candidacy of the leader of the moderates party with 176 votes in favor and 173 against. In this contest, the President of Finland and Sweden's new Prime Minister held phone discussions on mutual cooperation. The Finnish leader reiterated his readiness to continue working with Sweden's new government. This comes months after both Nordic countries submitted their applications to join NATO and are in the process of ratifying their accession to the Atlantic Alliance. This Tuesday, United Arab Emirates Energy Minister Suhail Al-Masroui reiterated that there is nothing political about any decision they take within OPEC. Saudi Arabia previously insisted that the October 5th move by OPEC Plus was taken purely on economic considerations and rejected as baseless allegations that it was politically motivated against Washington.
The last decision was taken on the same approach, and I would like to reiterate that there is nothing political about any decision we take within OPEC. We come from different countries. As you know, we have 20 plus countries, and there is no way that politically all of them they will agree on one thing. But despite that, this is a technical organization. We truly trust and believe in the technical credibility of the OPEC and OPEC Plus. We always meet, discuss the facts based on our analysis of the market and how we can all contribute to taking the right measures to balance the supply and demand. And that decision is always taken unanimously.
More news coming up after a financial break, so don't go away. Welcome back from the south. Moscow rejected accusations of alleged Russian involvement in Nord Stream bombings, while Danish police said the pipelines were damaged by powerful explosions. The spokesman for the Russian presidency, Dmitry Peskov, said that the Kremlin considered as absurd the accusations of its alleged involvement into the explosions at the Nord Stream gas pipelines. Peskov specified that data gathered by the Russian intelligence showed otherwise, and therefore indicated the sabotage caused great damage to Moscow's interests. Meanwhile, the Prosecutor General's Office of the Russian Federation opened an investigation on international terrorism after the damage to the two gas pipelines. Iranian Foreign Ministry spokesman Nasser Kanani said the contradiction in the words and deeds of officials of the United States is the main obstacle to an agreement on the revival of the 2015 nuclear deal. At a weekly press conference, Kanani stated that U.S. officials sent messages to voice their viewpoints about the nuclear talks on the one hand, while showing contradictory behaviors in practice on the other. He noted that Washington's approach failed to contribute to or supplement the nuclear talks. The Iranian spokesman stressed that ground exists for reviving the nuclear deal and all sides return to it, but the issue lies on the U.S. government's political decision. Lastly, Kanani emphasized his country will not keep waiting for an agreement. The Iranian government dismantled a group of hooligans in Gilan and arrested over 800 people involved in the riots and destruction of public property. According to the deputy chief of the disciplinary force of the Iranian province, the gang produced inflammable substances with which they intended to sabotage and destroy public property in the area. Police authorities also announced that they confiscated several Molotov cocktails and other homemade weapons. Meanwhile, the Iranian intelligence forces reported that they managed to capture a leader of the riots in his hideout in the town of Malar in the province of Al-Bors, who was carrying firearms. An entire family in Palestine suffocates to death as a result of tear gas fired by the Israeli army directly at their home. The family, including children and elderly, suffocated after inhaling tear gas fire at their homes in Masafer Yatta villages to the south of the town of Hebron. The coordinator of the Protection and Steadfastness Committees, Fuad Al-Amour, said the incident occurred when Israeli forces fired stun grenades and tear gas canisters directly at the family's home, causing the entire family to suffocate. On Tuesday, UN High Commissioner for Human Rights, Ravina Shamdasani, warned that the latest airstrikes on the Tigray region risk exacerbating the already devastating impact of hostilities on the civilian population.
Airstrikes on the Tigray region risk seriously exacerbating the already devastating impact of hostilities on civilians. Since 31st of August, we have received numerous reports of civilian casualties and destruction of civilian objects due to airstrikes and artillery strikes in Tigray. Disruptions to communications make it particularly difficult to verify reports, but it is clear that the toll on civilians is utterly staggering.
Senior Communist Party of China leaders attended group discussions of various delegations at the 20th CPC National Congress, which opened on Sunday. The main topics discussed were the political, social, and economic situation of the country. Senators from the whole nation reported to the General Secretary of the Chinese Communist Party and President of the nation, Xi Jinping, the advances achieved in China in the past decade and recognized the effort of the people and the leadership of the party. Reform and opening up must be firmly pushed forward, they said, highlighting the importance of adhering to reforms to develop the socialist market economy, creating conditions to ensure fair market competition, and promoting high-level opening up, among others. On Tuesday, China's Foreign Ministry spokesman Wang Wenbin denied allegations of Chinese recruitment efforts to bring British Air Force pilots to train its military personnel. The senior Chinese official said he was unaware of allegations by the United Kingdom government that the Chinese were recruiting former and serving British Air Force pilots to train the Asian giant's military. Tensions between China and UK are rising after the head of British cyber intelligence, Jeremy Fleming, accused China of trying to rewrite the rules of international security. The Chinese government called on the new UK government to approach bilateral ties objectively and rationally, warning of the counterproductive effect of labeling it as a threat. World leaders attending the 5th Assembly of International Solar Alliance in New Delhi pushed to diversify supply chains and manufacturing of the solar photovoltaic market, which is currently led by China. A report issued in July by the International Energy Agency found that China represents about 75% of the total manufacturing capacity of the solar photovoltaic market. The ISA, which promotes solar power as a sustainable way to transition to a carbon-neutral future, was conceptualized on the sidelines of the COP21, the United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change held in Paris in 2015. According to the Alliance website, 110 countries are signatories to the ISA Framework Agreement. We have come to the end of this news brief, where you can find these and many other stories on our website at telesurenglish.net. You can also join us on our social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Telegram, and TikTok. For TeleSUR English, I'm Luis Alberto Matos. Thank you for watching.